Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Mindhunter Season 1, Episode 10. It is the season finale. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. So, I'm not actually sure which one of us is right, because we debated last episode about, and admittedly, it wasn't a heated discussion, we both kind of agreed that the other option was equally viable. But what's funny is I thought you were right for most of the episode,
And
but
then it got to the last moment, and it was like, huh, maybe you were right.
yeah, maybe I was. I mean, there wasn't an aftermath of it yet, but maybe that's the moment. That's like the because what we debated, of course, was are we getting to a point where Holden's going to like reach his breaking point and then realize he has to like look at things again? And you said no, he's going to get darker and darker. And I did say that if he does get darker and darker, and it doesn't end in a sort of start of a recovery, then the other characters should all be concerned about him, which they were up until
Yeah,
the end.
up until the very final moment, it was playing like, okay, no, this is going to just be dark. Like
Yeah,
he's going down this path. That's how, like, 90% of the episode, probably more
yeah.
played.
It was the very final scene that it gave us that moment. Well, not the very final scene, but the final scene with him in it gave us that moment. Uh, so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
I mean, I guess the other thing we should mention is the final scene. Not starting with this episode this way, but we had the killer that we've been tracking all season with
yeah,
these
yeah.
short scenes.
They've kind of blueballed us.
They've blueballed us, although um, I do happen to think the killer that everyone thinks this is apparently was not. Do you remember how we were arguing as well about time jumps? Like we have to time jump between seasons.
Yeah.
Apparently, this killer wasn't caught until the 90s, so I feel like the time jumps are inevitable. otherwise,
Oh, that's fair.
the whole thing is going to be blue balling us. Um, but they're playing the long game, certainly,
Yeah.
because they get to this last scene with him, and he's like burning some like drawings he's done of like women tied up and other creepy shit,
Yeah.
and it's like
The question is, are these drawings of fantasies or victims?
could be either. I mean, honestly, given what we've learned about them, or these
Right,
type of people
exactly.
so far, it could be either.
Yeah, I'm just not sure.
Yeah. Like, is this still in the preemptive phase? Like, is he still building up to his first kill? Or,
Yeah. Or are these mementos? You know, in the same way that the I think it was Brudos took the pictures.
hmm.
Is this kind of like he did drawings?
Actually, given that he's burning them, I'm going to make a guess and say it's the preemptive side. And he's burning them because he's going to go do the real thing now.
Okay,
If they were
that makes sense.
mementos, I feel like he'd keep them. But, I mean,
Yeah, but alternatively, the mementos to me, just as I'm not convinced either way. Just as
yeah.
a counterpoint is maybe, okay, he's like, maybe he goes, oh, it's dangerous keeping these around. If these get seen, I could get caught.
Yeah,
So he
yeah.
decides to, get rid of them.
He could be playing it smart. That's true. So it's funny, actually, the other thing that was brought up last episode is you were a little bit miffed that the case seemed kind of like just sort of one and done and it was irrelevant and didn't go. I was like, this episode started. It was like, okay, no, I was setting this up.
It didn't feel like that though, did it?
It didn't, but I think that was the point. I think like they thought they had it sussed, and I think that's
Yeah,
actually part of the point of that like where this goes in this episode is they gave him the lie detector test, which they told the cop not to do because if he passes it, and he might, cause if he's a sociopath, like because it reads emotions, it reads feelings,
yeah,
heart rates, and things like that. Like so, it can be beat, and if he beats it, he'll think he's Superman. That was the exact line. Like he'll feel
yeah.
empowered because he can beat a lie detector test. So they go down to talk to him to just invite him in. He doesn't. I mean, there's nothing by law that says he has to come in and talk to us. But make it casual. Make it sound like he's helping us out if he comes in and talks to us.
Yeah, make him like a witness is what they do.
Yeah, and we'll basically lay a trap and holding us down. And the music is played. It's like, there's a montage here. Like the music plays and it's this upbeat music and it's like Holden's like learned all this and he's going to apply it all. And he's like do this. Oh, this file's too thin. Like put some blank sheets in there to make it look thicker so that it looks more intimidating. Get the outfit from the girl's crime scene and what she was wearing. We're going to set that up in the room. We're going to have this whole display on. Like he's orchestrating everything.
Yeah,
He's big because basically they have nothing on him, but they're going to try and make him confess. That's
yeah,
basically what this is.
pretty much.
And obviously there's some debating that comes after it, but the scene itself, which is the first like 20 minutes of the episode, I checked when the scene ended, this interrogation. It was like 20 minutes into the episode. This was like a good.
Well, it's longer than I thought. I mean, obviously it's a significant chunk, but I didn't realize it was quite that long.
I think that's maybe a testament to how well handled it is that you don't feel the time.
Yeah,
You're not checking the watch or anything like that. You're just kind of
yeah,
getting
no,
on it.
that's true.
And of course, Holden beforehand, the detective was like, I may, some of my line of questioning may be a little disturbing.
Just go with it.
Just go with it. Yeah. And of course, he's talking to him, and it's all official at first, and then he's like, oh, Nate, change the tape. Changes the tape, and he just presses pause.
Yeah, and you see the cop look at it, and he's like, he looks concerned. Then he's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
He doesn't say anything, but you can just see on his face.
Yeah, and of course, we're like, oh, well, we know why he's doing that, given what happened
He's
last
about to
episode.
go off, but
Yeah. And honestly, this one actually was much more uncomfortable, I think, as a viewer. Because he basically starts to like connect with the guy by talking about how this 12-year-old girl, like, oh, sometimes young girls can look really attractive, can't they? And he's like, yeah, but he says this as he's looking at this photo, and we see this photo of a 12-year-old girl, and he's talking about her like she's attractive.
and it's so clearly a 12-year-old. You know, like because
Yeah.
before they were saying, "Oh, she looked older," like in the uniform.
And she doesn't.
No, not at all.
She looks 12. And it's very uncomfortable. Like, I mean, as bad as his language was last episode, it was like, okay, like, I actually have no problem with him saying whatever to like get the guy to talk. You know,
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, but this feels slimier because it's children. Whereas before it was just he was just saying it, and it was bad. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't friendly, but it was like okay, I get what he's doing. Where here it just feels like okay, there's a bit of a moral line.
Yeah, I get the theory behind it, but there's something uncomfortable. But I'm looking at this photo and saying those words, and like Bill's over there, and he's like not feeling it, and like the
Bill's
cops
kind
not
of going
feeling
along
it.
with it though. He's like not quite sticking up for Holm, but
Yeah.
he doesn't. He kind of when Holm's like, no, I've got to I'm doing my thing. I know what I'm doing. Bill doesn't disagree. He lets him have it.
And he's in the tape. He knows the tape's been paused because when the detective was like, "Oh, we're going to have a timeout. We're going to have a break," and he goes
Yeah.
outside and he tries to like talk Holden. And it's like, "What are you doing? What was this?" He's like, "Just trust us. Like we're working. We're getting there. We're getting them talking." And they bring up the tape's been paused and blah blah blah. They go back in, and the line of question keeps going. And it's funny how they get to a certain point and then he presses record again, and it's a very theatrical because he's asking all these different questions. They kind of like make him go back in one of his statements where he never spoke to her when he was working on the trees. It's like, oh no, you were working. It's like surely someone's, because they even make up a witness say, oh, someone saw you talking to her. It's like, oh, maybe she came over and said something at some point.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Because
sure.
at first it was like, no, she waved.
Yeah. Maybe did you think she was attractive? It's like, oh yeah, I guess I thought she was cute. It's like, oh, did you do this? Did you do that? They're making him go back on his words constantly.
Yeah, and they're going, hey, she looked a bit older, and he goes, yeah, she did look older, and he's like, like, oh, the age of consent's 14. I thought it was fine.
First of all, what?
Yeah, yeah, that threw me as well. I did not know that.
Yeah, I'm curious if
I
that's
mean,
still.
I hope that's changed.
Yeah, I'm curious to check up Georgia and see if that's still
Yeah,
the age of
I know
consent
it's,
there.
it's like that, and it's like 13, 14 in Japan, isn't it?
I knew about that. I knew there was other, but I didn't realize there were some
but not
states.
in places in America. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't realize there were some states where at least if it used to be, or if it is now, whatever. But yeah. But obviously the real clincher that does it is that they say, oh, do you recognise the hat? Do you recognise this? It's like, oh, do you recognise this yellow? This is the yellow coat that he put over her dead body, and but when he picks it up, it reveals the rock underneath, which was the murder weapon. And the guy cannot stop looking at it. Stop looking at it at all. He's fixated on it.
and that's when he's pressed record. He picks up the jacket, brings it over, presses record, and then goes, "Do you recognise this?" It's such a good moment to come back in on.
Yeah, and just starts asking them the questions, and they basically just kind of build the story around him, and he's breaking. But what I love is the detective, who's been really uncomfortable the entire time, he's watching him like a hawk. As soon as he's staring at that rock, the detective's just looking at him like.
And he kind of realizes what he's been doing. He's like, "Oh, I see. I get it."
Yeah, this is working. You've humanized her. You're doing all this, and it gets a result. It cuts to like them in a bar, like they're with, because there's a cop outside as well who's hearing everything. And he's uncomfortable, but at the end of it, like within the bar, he's like, "Oh man, that was amazing! Like you do this stuff, you teach this stuff, And
yeah, is this an FBI thing?
Bill's kind of playing it down a little bit, where he's like, "Oh, all we really did was this," and it's like, "Don't sell us short, Bill. Like, drink to me. I'm special. I'm Holden. I'm a genius." My ego's inflating to ridiculous
Oh man,
heights.
we talked about ego with these killers a lot, and obviously we've talked about how Holden's imitating them so in some respects, and never has it been more apparent.
Yeah, yeah, he is so thrilled with himself, and I mean they have got someone
He's
absolutely,
kind of like
but
in this moment here, he's kind of like Ed, like he could have Ed, he got away with it, but he kind of got bored. He was like, no, I need people to know, I need to turn myself in. And this
mm,
is kind of the same where Han's like, look, I can do this. I've proved I can do it, but that's not good enough. I need people to know we can do it.
yeah, and of course it spirals because this cop talks to the press, and then it gets in the newspaper, and no one's happy about this. Wendy especially is pissed about it because
I
what
mean, Holden's pretty happy with it.
oh yeah, Holden's pretty happy about it. To the point where when they're arguing about it, he's like, you know, Bill, you sure you're just not upset that they didn't mention you by name? That
And
I
you just think,
laughed so
I
hard.
loved like, oh, I'm shocked he's not just punching him in the face at that.
Oh
It's like,
god.
no, no, I'm bloody
Yeah,
not.
I liked
Bang.
how Bill went into Wendy's office and went, you know, short of putting a muzzle on him, I don't know what to do. But yeah, but there was a scene with Debbie at the supermarket where she, you know, kind of, you know, the morality of what they did to win this case. It's like, well, yeah, you proved he was a killer, you got him to confess, but you went in knowing, like you'd already decided when you went in that you'd made this
Yeah.
conclusion. You know, like what if you were wrong? You know, and Wendy even brings up that the article, the news article, almost makes it sound like coercion the
It
way it's
does,
done.
yeah.
And we know it's not. We know it's kind of like we get
Like
the
nowadays, that would be fine.
yeah, but we get the theory behind it, and Debbie just and this is the thing where I feel like up until the last episode, Holden was still very sympathetic. But the last episode, and especially this one in the supermarket, where he gets a little angry at her, and he's like, "Oh, can't you just be supportive and like listen to me?" And she's like, "What do you mean? Get quiet and just adore you?" And it's like he's officially crossing the line into unlikable.
Yeah,
Where I'm like, I can't side with you anymore, Holden.
yeah,
Hold it back.
definitely. It's like, no, I don't want this to be what you're doing. You're doing this wrong now.
Yeah. And of course, when they go outside and they're getting in the car, he sees the school principal that he got fired just downing booze as he walks away from the store. So you can see, like, so they've brought in like, multiple things that we've played with this season. Obviously, Kemper's coming later in the episode, but
Yeah, and we
we
got
have
some
this.
hints. He's sending them a card.
Yeah, they've got a little collection of cards that he puts up in the
Yeah,
up
because
on the
you
wall.
think it's just the one, and then you see him pinning it on the wall, and there's like six of them.
In Bill's office, no less, which I thought was especially funny.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, here, Bill, have another card from Kemper. So you got that, but of course, what we were kind of waiting on throughout the episode was the tape from last episode to make an appearance and have an impact. And sure enough, Shepard comes down. He's like, "Hey, they've got a hold of this. We, from this point on, I suggest we all be completely transparent. That is all we can do now." Because there's this thing. It's when he's on the phone. He finds out about Ed trying to kill himself. Like, you know, he's put him down as his next of kin, basically. And
Yeah.
so he's on the phone with a doctor or a nurse, like saying, "Hey, yeah, I'll phone back later. What's happening?" And the doctor's in surgery, saving his life. But he sees them go out the room and he chases them out, and that's when we find out that they've got the tape and they're coming to see them all again, one by one, and you know, be transparent. And we don't see anyone else's interview. We just see Holden's, and we see, like, you know, the previous. I think it's Bill comes out just before or
Yeah,
whatever.
because they talk about Bill's stuff.
Yeah, and Holding is in, and I'm like, and from the body language that the Holden had, I was like, I don't know where this is.
It's not that he's gonna hide things. It's just he's gonna be really overconfident. He's gonna be. It's that same ego thing. It's like
Yeah,
he's gonna be honest about what he's done, but he's gonna be like, yeah, but I was right to do it.
yeah, because we've already seen him argue with Wendy. Because it was when the newspaper thing was brought up, he was arguing with Wendy. Hey, that we've done this because we glossed over the trip to try and convince the DA to not give him the death penalty because they're worried that if more of these convicts find out that they've led to someone being fried, that they're going to be less willing to
Yeah.
you know, work with them and talk to them. And the DA, of course, is a complete like just this awful person who's like she's like, oh, the will of the state, the will of the people of my state is to fry the bastard, so that's what I'm going to do.
Yep.
And Wendy, I don't think I've seen Wendy more like death stare than when they're in the elevator and they're like, all these people are between them, they're on opposite sides, and then they leave and there's just a look in her face as she's looking past back at him, and I'm like, she wants to strangle him right now.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, but he goes in to this meeting, and it's the same two guys from before, and they've got a recorder playing, recording, and they ask, and they start off the same way. Oh, you're with the FBI. What was your job at the FBI? What do you do? What was the purpose behind this? And they start asking about the interview that he did with the tape. He's like, oh, did you record it? We did. Did the transcript? We did. It was you that decided this. And it was like, the line of...
He takes credit for everything, doesn't he?
He does. He makes clear that he's one behind it. Even when he could have said maybe no. Like, when it comes to the lie, because Greg kind of did that on his own. He lied himself in the
yeah, but he goes, no, I told him with a look. And this is what I mean, how he's kind of like the serial killers, where he kind of has to confess. He wants them to know that he's behind all this. He's proud of what he's done. Even if they're going, you've done something wrong, he still thinks he's in the right.
And he brings up the statement, and they say, oh, is that inappropriate? And then he throws their own language back at them, because after they turned off the tape last time, they called him a shit stain, and he's like, or like a shit stain? And they turn off their recorder, and they're like, hey, play. And what I especially like about this is these two guys aren't, like, they're being kind of serious because they've been lied to, that they're treating this again very formally. But when they turn off the recorder here and they start talking, they're like, hey, like, you're in serious trouble here, and we want to help you, but we can only help you if you work with us here. Yeah. Like, they don't actually want to just, like, prosecute him or whatever.
Which I think is interesting, because obviously Shepard, last episode when he was telling Wendy that they were going to come, he was saying, internal affairs, they kind of get like kicks on doing this and proving people wrong. Whereas these guys don't seem like that.
Yeah, they're trying to work with them, but Holden's like, hey, what I'm doing is important. And he's like, F you. And he gets up to leave. He's like, hey, you're making a mistake here. If you walk out that door, like, we're going to have to write this up. We're going to have to treat this as a serious thing, so on. And again, his ego just like gets the bit, and he walks out and like goes over to Bill and he's like, what did you tell them? Because Bill like voiced his concerns. It's the exact sort of thing we've been saying Bill's been feeling for the last while. Yep. He's crossing a line. He's not thinking about the consequences. He's just doing it for almost showboating. Which, even Kit, because he gets pissed off at this point and he flies to, I think it's California where Kemper is, to go to the hospital. And even when he goes in to see Kemper and like Kemper's like, oh, you finally showed up, like, I should have known it was going to be the showmanship that would have got you here.
The cards and the requests weren't enough. I had to do something drastic to prove my point. Yeah,
and again, very much his character, very much like
I like that Kemper's smart enough that he knows how to appeal to Holden. He knows how to get to him.
Yeah, it's been this idea that he's become needy and he wanted to see him so much that when he didn't show up, he tried to kill himself. Whether he actually wanted to kill himself or whether it was just an act to try and...
See, I think it's that. I think it's... personally, I do anyway. I think it's the idea that he goes, he's not responding to my my letters, my cards. How do I get him? And he's got a pretty good read on Holden. I think they got a good read on each other.
The only argument I'd have against that is that he goes so severe with it that he needed surgery, that it was like life threatening, like seriously.
I get it. I think he really was like, no, this has got to be convincing. If I'm not there to get surgery, they're not going to bother calling him.
I think maybe it says more about him that it was worth the risk. Because I mean, theoretically, he could have just killed himself. Like he might have.
No, I agree with that. I think it was for that reason, but like I say, he did still choose to take that risk, and that's a big statement in itself.
Yeah, this conversation was fascinating because obviously it gives us the season a sort of full circle vibe because we started with Kemper. He was the first one we went to see back in episode 2, and he is like, "Hey, I read about that in the paper, and like you're doing this thing, you're profiling and you're crediting like, what do I fall under? What's my profile?" He's like, "Oh, you're an organized killer because of this, and this." Is like, "Oh, you can't boil me down to just that." It's like, well, no, it's not about boiling it down. It's just about organizing and sorting the different categories and. That's where you fall right now. We're still working on it. But he's asking all these questions and he's very... It's almost like you basically... Like the article basically says that this started with me.
Yeah.
And I have more insights to give.
It's because he calls him his friend.
Yeah. And it was the article that did that. It was the article that said, oh, he's basically friends with Ed Kemper.
Yeah.
And to be fair, he never corrects him in the scene. He just kind of justifies it. He says, oh, in the context of our work, yes, we're...
Yeah, because I didn't go back and check, but I don't recall him saying that he was friends with Kemper. Just that we've had these conversations with him.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think that was the interpretation of the cop who was
Yeah, that's
That's
what
how
I
he
thought too.
that's how he phrased it. But of course, Kemper's taking it this way because Kemper keeps saying, "Oh, you talk to the press," and he didn't. He never talked to the press.
Yeah.
This was all second hand through someone else.
But we of course we should note Kemper's not reading this in the original publication. This was
That's true.
another publication has picked up on it, so it's kind of this Chinese whispers where maybe now does sound like Holden just said these things in the version that he read.
Yeah. So no, so it gets very intimidating where Kemper like gets up out of the bed.
And you forget how big he is.
He's really big. He stands up, and the guard who's kind of watching him had to go and like, or the nurse or whoever it was, like had to like answer a phone call. And they run out of the room, so he's in there unsupervised with Holden,
Yeah.
and he steps towards him and he's like, you know, I killed those girls because you know no one would ever like pay attention to me, no one would ever want to interact with me, and he says, well, now you've not been interacting with me, and like these girls are, because I killed them, they're kind of bound to me. Their soul's bound to me.
Yeah, what's it called? Spirit wives.
Yeah, spirit wives. That was the phrase. And if I killed you, you would be with me, and I could do that right now. And he steps in close, and he hugs him.
Yeah, but you feel the fear for a moment, don't you?
Oh, as soon as he stands up, Holden's like looking over to see if the other person's there. He's not. He's terrified. He's like shaking. He's quivering. And when he hugs him, like you know, it lasts a couple of seconds, and then Holden just pushes him away and runs.
And it's from Kempis. It's like, yeah, I could do that, but you're here now. You came. You did listen.
Yeah,
eventually, it took something drastic, but you came.
But he runs out. He's like heavy breathing. He collapses. He falls down next to the wall, and a nurse has to come up and ask him if he's okay. And he's going to need medical attention. And it's all. And I do like this. This is the moment we're talking about. Where is this the moment where he realised, crap, like
he's I'm in too close with these guys.
Yeah, this serial killer thought I was his friend to this point where he tried to kill himself to get me to come and see him, and like he feels this bond with me. And you wonder, like, is this him starting to reflect on how he's been with everything else? Like, and because I think over the last couple of episodes we've talked really well about how we relate his life falling apart to like how he's then acting in job and feeling powerful, and how you know, even the ego and the power in the rooms, like they're questioning him. They're like, you're doing something wrong. No, I'm better than you. I'm more powerful than you. This was my idea. We have done so many great things. Screw you. And of course, again, Debbie, like the personal life crumbles in this episode because she breaks up with them, and then that's right before all this interview stuff, this investigation stuff happens where he has to defend himself, and so it's like he's got even more of a reason to feel powerful at work, and it's when he's at his lowest of his lows, when he's lost everything, seemingly. I mean, he's not been fired yet or anything, but like you know, there's potential for
he's
that
on
to
track.
happen. Yeah. Where he goes to see Kemper and he maybe realizes like where he is in life now.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's that hug where he goes, no, this serial killer, he sees me as one of his own. He sees me as one of these outsiders, you know, those 35 or so people that he was describing. He thinks I'm one of them. And he goes, what if I am? What if, and he kind of realizes the way he's been behaving. I think he takes him and almost profiles himself.
Well, it's just funny because I think that scene with Debbie where he comes back after the trip with Wendy, and she's on the porch and she's waiting, and I'm like, this looks like a breakup scene, just the way she's looking at him. I kind of got it instantly.
Yeah.
But she's like, oh, you figure things out, you analyse things and read people, read me. And he sort of stands there, and he does a crime scene almost. He's like, okay, your arms are folded, that means you're mad, there's only one bottle, but it's already you've already drunk half of it with one glass, and you knew I was coming, but you didn't, you know, it's like, it basically deduces, oh, you're taking the edge off because you're building up to, oh wait, you're going to break up with me. And but the best part of the scene, though, I mean, I liked all that. I liked that he had to use those skills to figure that out. The best part of the scene for me, though, is he doesn't even wait for her to say anything. He just, as soon as he realizes it, he just starts to walk away and says, "Oh, I'll come by and get my things later," and just walks away. Kind of going back to how
he doesn't
was.
try and defend it. He doesn't fight for it. He just goes, fine.
Well, it's not even about defending it. For me, it's like the killer at the start of the episode. He came to his conclusion, and it didn't matter what she was going to say next. She might have said, "No, I'm not at that point yet." But I think for her, she never like yelled out or said, "Hey, I wasn't actually going to say that." It was like, "No, you've made that choice," and part of the problem we're having is that you just make these conclusions, and you don't even consider the possibility that you might be wrong, that you might have something else to consider.
He's so convinced he's right.
Yeah. So for me, that was the interesting part of the scene, is that he thinks it's, oh, that's clearly what it is. He doesn't even let her say it or anything.
I mean, he's probably right.
Well, I think it is to an extent. She's definitely mad at him, but like, I could buy that maybe she wasn't necessarily.
Maybe not, and maybe she wouldn't have done, but him doing it this, it's like, well, yep, guess that was the way it should have gone
Yeah,
from her perspective.
I think him assuming it and just taking it as, oh, I figured it out. Okay, we're doing it, is like the final nail where she's like, okay, I guess we are doing it then, because
Yeah, like I said, he doesn't fight for it, so why should she? Why should she
yeah,
try and put in this effort if he's not gonna care?
yeah, absolutely. That reminds me, actually, Wendy gave a good F bomb as well. She told Holden to F off.
It's always nice. I mean, I say that it's nice since these last few episodes.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Holden reached a dark place, and it makes me interested to see where season 2 is going to pick up with him. Like,
Yeah.
is he still with the Bureau? Is he like still working with them, but he's taking like a back seat? Like maybe he's not going to see the killers because he's worried about what it's doing to him.
And maybe it kind of, I can see it reaching a point where they're like, oh, God damn it, we need Holden in there. It's
Yeah.
like we can't get through to this guy. It's like, oh, we're gonna have to use him.
If there's a time jump, then maybe that'd maybe have a different type of effect.
I really hope they go and see Manson without him because that'll hurt him. Just because he was so excited about that to begin with.
I can see there being a 2 or 3 year time jump, not a huge one.
No, I don't think a massive one. A couple of years at most.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting though if like season 2 is like maybe 1980, 1981 kind of thing, and then like, I mean, let's say it's going to be 5 seasons and we end in the 90s. Like, do we get like different chunks of the 80s kind of represented throughout?
I can see it.
Yeah, nothing too big, but it works. But no, so what did you think of the season overall? Like, we've pretty much done all the finale stuff, but what did you think of the season?
No, I liked it a lot. I think it grew a lot over the season. Obviously, I think the very first episode you go back and listen, I said it was good, but I wasn't hooked. I wasn't really feeling it necessarily. But then the relationship between Holden and Bill developed, and that's what made me feel it. And it's obviously that fracture between them which has carried the end game.
That's what I was going to say. I think that's actually really effective because that was the hook for me as well. I mean, I think I liked the first one a little bit more than you, but I was kind of the same. But like, it was slow burning. I'm not hooked yet. And 2 hooked me with the going to see Kemper. It was like, okay, I'm seeing what this show's going to be, and that was when Holden and Bill really start to come together as a pair and have chemistry and dynamics and all that. So the fact that like they made us care about them as characters, it really meant something towards these last few episodes where Holden started to go off the deep end, where I'm like, no, I care that he's going off the deep end because he feels unlikable now, and he shouldn't be. I liked him a lot before. So
it's a little bit of a double-edged sword because I think the episodes do lose something without their banter, and their partnership was some of the highlights of the show. So without that, it felt a little off. But I get that was the point.
Yeah.
But it was smart to base the end game of the season around their relationship because that's why we cared. The serial killers and all that stuff's cool. Don't get me wrong. It's all interesting and a lot of good stuff in there. But it is that relationship that was the core of the show for us, and presumably most people, if that's what they're actually basing the season arc on, they must be aware of that.
I think it's about how it affects them. Like that's clearly what the story's been, is how delving into this, talking to these people, how it affects them. That said, scenes like the start of this episode where he's like deducing all this stuff and he's trying, like that game of trying to get the killer to admit that what he's done, like that is incredibly thrilling TV when it's well written.
It is, yeah.
Absolutely. And here it is for the most part. So
yeah, definitely. And I will say, like I complained last episode about that case feeling a bit throwaway. This nullified that in retrospect.
It does, especially since it kind of played into this idea where Debbie's complaining, oh, you just basically decided that you had the right conclusion. So the fact that it felt so easy last episode kind of plays into that.
It does, and nice I think this is one of those benefits of the Netflix binge formula. Because if this had been a whole week between episodes on regular broadcast, I'd kind of feel a little bit annoyed still that okay, but that was my week's episode and it was kind of, I feel like it was a little unfulfilling. It was better in retrospect, but it was a little bit unfulfilling on its own. But as part of just a larger whole on Netflix, it's nowhere near as much of a problem.
Yeah. I will say though, I do think this is a tightly paced. As much as we said it was a slow burn at first, and it is. I mean, it's never a fast moving show. I do think it's well paced throughout the season.
It's very consistent.
It's very consistent, and while there are a couple of episodes that are hitting almost an hour, they didn't feel the need to do that with everyone. There was an episode in the middle of the season that's like 35 minutes, and that's okay. Like
Yeah,
they made their choice and said, no, this one only needs that, so we're just doing that.
It made it feel very focused episode to episode in what it was doing. It wasn't going, oh, okay, well, we'll pad this one out a bit, or we'll cut this short. There was everything in any episode was relevant to what that episode was doing.
And that's the thing. Having one episode that's 36 minutes means that when I look at the time and it's 59 minutes, I don't go, oh, I go, no, I expect them to have a reason for 59 minutes. They're not just doing it out of some obligation to hit a time.
Because it's that premium thing, isn't it? It's that where it's become like a sign of respect almost, where it's like, oh, you're a longer episode, like you must be special. Whereas shows like Iron Fist prove that that's not true.
Yeah, but because they have shorter episodes, it's like, no, I don't groan because I know that they made that choice, and I know that they're not going to waste my time.
It's longer because it needs to be longer.
Yeah, so no, I think that's good. I think 10 episodes was perfect. I think 13 would have been a bit too much. I mean, you could have probably done it in 8, but I don't feel like we wasted any time with 10.
No, I think maybe if you cut down a couple of them and kind of lost it overall as down to like an episode in that sense. But yeah, 10's fine.
That was a really unenthusiastic agreement.
I don't know, I mean, I feel like maybe it could have been 9, maybe.
Okay.
But I think, like I say, 8's too short. 13's definitely too long.
Nah, I'm saying I think 10 was. I think 10 was just a nice amount where it didn't hit that Netflix slump. Because instead of hitting the slump where those like Netflix shows, those Marvel shows hit right around 7-8, that was when it started to get to its end game instead. So then we wrapped up here at episode 10. So it I feel like it played to its length really well. And
it knew how long it was. Is a way of putting that, I suppose.
And that final scene as well with the killer, and it was that was like saying, hey, we have a long game in mind. Come back next season for this. Like, we're building to that. So that's pretty cool. And I think it's already been renewed, if I'm right in saying.
Oh, is it? I hadn't seen that.
IMDb already has a page for season 2, and typically it only does if it's been renewed.
Okay.
It's maybe not a foolproof method.
I mean, we'll find out when we do the news review video tomorrow.
Oh no, it's had season 2 listed for like ages. Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, this isn't a recent development.
That's a bold statement then.
Yeah,
I'm just looking it up quickly.
Go on, give it a Google.
I am, yeah. Oh yeah, this is an article from Cinema Blend saying Netflix's Mindhunter renewed for season 2 before season 1 has even aired.
There you go.
That is dated 6 months ago.
Yeah, so they're confident.
Yeah,
they're confident, and I'm glad because I like season 1. I'm looking forward to season 2.
It says production on the second season expected to begin in May, but that will have been last May if this was 6 months ago.
Yes, so
it's well underway.
So that should hit the same time period next year. There's no reason why
I should really hope so.
There's no reason why it should be pushed. That's cool. But no, I am glad because I enjoyed the season. I'm looking forward to the next one. This final episode was, by the way, directed by Fincher again.
That makes sense. I mean, I don't think it is as trademark Fincher as the first two, where I think it was really, really obvious. But that's because it was, he was setting up the show, the style of the show.
Yeah. But no, that's Mindhunter. I like the season quite a bit. Like I say, strong character relationships. I like that the characters they brought in. Like, I mean, Greg was like 3 from the end, but he still felt like he belonged the entire time he was there.
He's still a bit of a C-bomb, but
oh sure, yeah. I mean, yeah, he's a dweeb and but like it feels like he belongs. And Wendy grew a little bit over the season. I mean, she's not. I mean, I think there's still a lot more we can do with her, but at least
I actually think it'll be really interesting if we have a time jump because she never came out to them, and I think that'll be if there's a time jump, it'll be like, hang on, we've been working together for years, and why haven't you told us this?
Yeah,
it'd be interesting.
So there you go. That is the season. So let us know what you thought the show, the final episode, in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailedfuzztv. You can do that over there. But otherwise, that is us. So Netflix are not giving us any rest because Stranger Things Season 2 hits tomorrow, and we will be starting work on that. So
It's just back-to-back Netflix these days.
to be fair, we took a bit longer on this one than we thought we would.
I mean, true, but it's 14 days apart, 10 episodes. So
True.
at best, we'd have had 3 days off.
True. But hey, there you go. So yeah, we'll see you next time. Next season for this, but next time for Stranger Things or whatever else you're watching that we also cover on the
It
channel.
should be Stranger Things.
Which should be Stranger Things. So thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. Have you got any vanilla?